Warning, warning. The information you're about to receive is dangerous to the existing power structure and the ruling elite. Please share far and wide.
It's like MK Ultra controlling your brain, suggestive thinking, causing your perspective to change. They want to rearrange the whole point of view of the ghetto. The fourth branch of the government want us to settle. A bandana full of glittering generality, fighting for freedom and fighting terror. But what's reality? Read about the history of the place that we live in, and stop letting corporate news tell lies to your children.
Do you have any people being paid by the CIA who are contributing to a major circulation American journal?
We do have people who submit pieces to American journals.
Do you have any people paid by the CIA who are working for television networks?
This, I think, gets into the kind of getting into the details, Mr. Chairman, that I'd like to get into in executive session.
Hello there, and welcome back, all you free thinkers, and welcome to all you new free thinkers. My name's Chris Phillips, and this is Phillips Unfiltered. This episode, our second episode, we're going to discuss something that everybody's talking about right now. It's this so-called fake news that you're hearing about. Before we get into why everybody's talking about this so-called fake news, what I want to do is just demonstrate real quick how easy it is to create something completely fake. And in other news today, the CEO of Breadco, Bill Frankelstein, said of Breadco, quote, "Our new canned white bread product line is the perfect product line to endorse the new administration of President-elect Trump," end quote. Donald Trump said in response to Breadco's adoring words, quote, "Thank you to Breadco, and thank you to canned white bread," end quote. You see, folks, Google and Facebook are being called on right now to fight this so-called epidemic of fake news. Their strategy is to withhold advertising dollars from these people that put out this so-called fake news. Their spokesman says, quote, "Our team will closely vet all prospective publishers and monitor existing ones to ensure compliance." Folks, this is censorship, and this is fascism. You see, censorship is authoritarian, and being an authoritarian is being a fascist. It's telling someone else what they can and cannot say, what they can and cannot publish, what they can and cannot write or produce on social media or anywhere. It is a direct violation of the First Amendment and our freedom of speech. Even Twitter is in on the action. They have currently banned all these alt-right accounts. Alt-right is just a public relations phrase for neo-Nazi. Okay, folks? You see, what's going on is that folks like Mark Zuckerberg from Facebook are really assuming the role of the Minister of Truth from, say, 1984 by George Orwell. You see, what is really going on here is that he is assuming the role of the authority on what is and is not fake. And who is he to do that? There is currently a list floating around the interwebs right now, published by some so-called professor declaring what is and is not a fake news website. Among the news sites listed, of course, major mainstream, lamestream media sources like NBC, ABC, CBS, or Fox News, or CNN, or any of the other known spin doctors were not included on that list. So of course the list is completely bogus. Everyone with a brain knows that no man can take the role of being an authority in telling you what you can and cannot publish. Government is derived from the Latin verb governo, governare, meaning to control, and the Latin noun mens or mentis, meaning mind. Literally, government controls your mind. Some of the juiciest pieces of American history are in the intelligence operations of our past. And I want to tell you a story about one of those operations now. It's called Operation Mockingbird. Operation Mockingbird began in 1948, and it wasn't until 1975 that the Church Committee, led by Senator Frank Church, led a congressional investigation to discover the lengths of this operation. You see, the CIA had infiltrated all levels of major media, from print to radio and television, and who knows what else. And it was all uncovered in 1975, okay? And then supposedly in 1976, George H.W. Bush, this guy, supposedly canceled it. So for 30 years almost, the CIA put their agents in all the TV stations, radio stations, in movies, and in print, newspapers, all over the country. A perfect example of how this works in our modern world is the media sphere just after 9/11. You see, everybody was saying the same thing. Let's go get them. Bring it on. Take it to them. You see, that was the agenda being put forth from the intelligence community through the media to the people. And what happened? We went to war and we killed a lot of people because of that agenda. It worked. In 1981, 5 years after George H.W. Bush supposedly canceled Operation Mockingbird, CIA Director William Casey stated, quote, "Our disinformation program will be complete when everything the American public believes is false," end quote. Folks, the evidence is clear. Don't trust anything put out by the mainstream media, and especially don't trust giant corporations that tell you what you publish is fake. Doesn't matter if it's satirical, doesn't matter if it's serious. They do not have that authority over you, and they never will. Well, that's it for me on this episode of Phillips Unfiltered. I want you to question everything you see and read out there, folks, including me, okay? So, with that being said, feel free to write a story about Donald Trump and the aliens. It doesn't really matter. You're a free human being. You have every right. Have a good one, folks. Phillips out.
It's like MK Ultra controlling your brain, suggestive thinking, causing your perspective to change. They want to rearrange the whole point of view of the ghetto. The fourth branch of the government want us to settle. A bandana full of glittering generality, fighting for freedom and fighting terror. But what's reality? Read about the history of the place that we live in, and stop letting corporate news tell lies to your children.